Welcome to AP Critical Review. In this video, we're going to give you some important tips for crushing the multiple choice section of any AP exam. Tip number one, all AP exams are timed, so it's vital to pace yourself. You should find out in advance the number of questions for each part of the test and how much time you have available. This way, you can calculate on average how much time you have per question. For example, the AP Chemistry exam has 60 multiple choice questions that you must answer in 90 minutes. That gives you roughly 1.5 minutes per question. Now, this doesn't mean you should be watching the clock like a hawk. Stated another way, you should be pacing yourself to answer 10 questions about every 15 minutes. Tip number two, a good strategy is to use question triage and make 2 passes per section. Read all questions in the first pass. Respond to all questions that you're relatively sure you know the answer. Mark all other questions for a second pass. Our unconscious mind is constantly active and may mull over the questions you initially have trouble with while you're working through the rest of the exam. When you return to these questions, the answers may come to you right away. Tip number three. Another advantage of question triage is that future questions can sometimes provide clues for answering previous questions. So don't spend too much time on any one question early in the exam. Tip number four. For multiple choice questions you still can't confidently answer after returning to them during the second pass, try to eliminate any obviously wrong choices. While not always true, for questions that have several similar answers among the choices, the correct answer is generally one of those options, and the oddball choices are often wrong. After you've eliminated what you can, go ahead and make an educated guess. Tip number five, never leave a multiple choice question unanswered. The College Board eliminated the wrong answer penalty in 2010. So for multiple choice questions you find completely baffling after returning to them during the second pass, go ahead and guess. The AP Statistics exam has 5 options, so you have a 20% chance of picking the correct answer on a wild guess. The AP Biology, Calculus, Chemistry, and Physics exams only have 4 options, so you have a 25% chance of picking the correct answer on a wild guess. Tip number 6. Many testing tip sheets will advise you to pick middle options when guessing, such as B or C for a question with 4 choices. This may have been good advice when the tests were teacher constructed, but for a standardized exam, available data from past administrations have shown that this almost never creates an advantage. Pick any option you like, but be consistent in guessing. Tip number 7. For multiple choice questions, be careful reading the question and look for qualifying words such as not or except that are easy to miss but will completely change what is the correct answer. Tip number 8. For multiple choice questions, read the stem first and try to think of the correct answer before you even look at the options. A good test writer will incorporate several distractors into the options that could easily be mistaken for the correct answer. If you try and figure out the answer first, you will often not be led astray. Tip number 9. Sometimes we make mistakes. However, our first impressions are often correct. If you have time to review your answers before the test concludes, be careful about changing answers. If you have a good articulable reason for changing an answer, such as missing a key piece of information, go ahead and make the change. Otherwise, don't second guess yourself. Tip number 10. Long and complex calculations are generally unnecessary when answering multiple choice questions. A good understanding of fundamental concepts will often lead you directly to the answer without even picking out the calculator. So think before you calculate. Tip number 11. For those few questions that do require calculations, try to estimate the answer before resorting to using the calculator. You will often be able to select the correct answer from the available options if you do so. If you can't, The estimate provides a good check on any careless mistakes you might make punching numbers into the calculator. Tip number 12. For the multiple choice section, be careful about bubbling in the answers on the Scantron sheet. Do not wait until time is up to do this. It takes a little less time to bubble in the answers for every page of the test than every question. Just be sure that when you skip questions, you don't get the answers on the Scantron sheet out of sequence. Thanks for watching.